All right, let's talk about what a mess really this was by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, we'll get into it, but there was plenty of moving the ball and plenty of shooting themselves in the foot once they got into good situations in Rams territory. So, yeah, let's not, I can just jump into things. Let's just jump into it. Let's start off with this play. It's going to be just a one-on-one matchup over the middle right here on a 3rd down and 8. It's Parker Washington running this route. This was definitely a part of it, which was the Rams were doing a very good job of covering on these 3rd down and 8s, which maybe we've talked about their secondary not being the strength of their team, but I thought that they played well in this game. You see when Lawrence takes the snap, there is a bit of a window. It's tough because there's also a player covering over the middle who's reading this play. It's going to take a really tough catch, and to be honest, I mean, this is kind of one of those, you almost wonder, is this just a hospital ball here? Washington can't make that grab. Would have been a tough play. Rams making it difficult on the Jaguars. Jaguars not able to make a really tough play there. So there was some of that for sure. Also, this is something Kurt Warner brought up on the broadcast, and I think it's a good point, which is you see that it's a 1st down and 10, and look at where they are on the field. They are in Rams territory, which they were in constantly. They had a stretch where they were 6 straight possessions in Rams territory. 5 of those 6, they got inside the 35. This was the first of those. Lawrence is going to take the snap. He's going to look over the middle. There isn't anything open. Okay, that's not your fault, right? You can only run the offense that is there. If there's nothing open, there's nothing open. But as Kurt Warner brought up, you got to just throw this football away right here. You're still on the outside of field goal range. It's not really, but you 5 yards away maybe from field goal range. Instead, Lawrence gets sacked, and even though he runs forward and doesn't have it be a horrible sack, they still lose several yards on the play and just put yourself in a much more tricky situation. Ultimately, they weren't able to get into field goal range here and had to punt the ball away to the other team. So yeah, just an issue. In fact, this was that 3rd and 13 play. Okay, again, you want the 1st down. That would be the best case scenario. But that's not the only way that this can be a positive, right? If you can gain some yards, get yourself in field goal range, well, that at least helps you. You're down 14, can help you get down just 11. Instead, you're going to see Lawrence quickly throws this one to Travis Hunter, but they're not on the same page. Now, that ball was tipped as well, so it wasn't just them not being on the same page, but they weren't on the same page. If that ball wasn't tipped, it is still an incomplete pass because Hunter had not turned his head around yet. And again, the way that play is designed to work, you throw, you gain some yards, and hopefully Hunter can pick up the 1st down with essentially everyone else blocking on the other side of the field. But if you don't get the full 1st down, you can at least pick up some yards to kick a field goal, and they weren't able to even do that. And now going over here, I want to be clear, like Jaguars moved the ball pretty well in this game. Again, I brought up the constantly getting the ball past midfield, getting the ball inside the 35. Like, this is a good example where it's zone coverage. A lot of these Liam Cohen play calls do really work. You saw that in this game where essentially the idea is the receiver who's running the route all the way to the offense's left, so towards the top of the screen, is going to go down and then try to draw that corner out of the area. So the other receiver who's now going to go towards the top of the screen could get open. As you see, Lawrence runs this play action, and this play it's going to really work. I mean, you see Lawrence push the ball downfield, there is an opening, and they pick up a nice chunk play right there. So you definitely had that, and I think in some ways that's part of why this was a frustrating watch, especially if you're a Jaguars fan. Because sometimes you just don't have the talent, or you don't have the right scheme for the right day, and you can't get anything going, and you're just kind of stuck in the mud, and it is what it is. They could get stuff going, and it just felt like they kept beating themselves. Like, for example, going over here, there were some weird Liam Cohen decisions in this game. So he kicked the field goal on 4th and 2 earlier, a field goal that they missed. Now it's 4th and 7. It's a 21-point game, and I feel like this was just a bit of like a panic move going for it here. There's still 32 minutes left in the football game. I don't know why you decide to go for this, but okay, it's 4th and 7, and Kurt Warner on a broadcast was bringing up that they should have gone for field goals in the future on different situations when you're down 21 midway through the 3rd quarter, and I think at that point you kind of have to. Here though, like, you don't have to, so I don't know. Would have been nice to have the points here, but also, hey, okay, that's the call. Players, you have to execute. 4th down and 7, zone coverage. You're going to see that Trevor Lawrence takes a snap, and there is just nothing open right here, and that's part of the issue too. If you're going to go for it, you have to have a play call you feel confident is going to work, and this just this is really good defense by the Rams. So what can Lawrence do here? Well, he's going to kind of do what he can, right? See if he can make something happen, but there's nothing there. Ends up getting tackled short of the first down marker. So, give the Rams a lot of credit defensively for doing this, but also, again, those are points that you could have had that they weren't able to have. And there were just, honestly, there were some mistakes in the first half. It was a disaster in the second half. So, like, for example, this one, a 3rd down and 2 situation, you're going to see that, again, just player trying to flip towards the sideline. Definitely an opening here. It's 3rd and 2, down 21. But early in the third quarter, score a touchdown, like, this is a game. Lawrence takes a snap, and he just airmails this throw. It looked like it was live. You're like, okay, was this tipped or something? It was not, I don't believe. The angle did not show a clear angle of it getting tipped. It was just a missed throw. So, again, maybe he thought his receiver was going to run further down the field. I don't know why he would think that, given the situation. I think he just let one get away from him. So that's a 1st down. Jaguars beating themselves. So that brings up 4th down and 2. And again, in this situation, going for it's the right call. It's only 4th and 2. You're down 21. You want to make it a 2-score game right here. Lawrence takes a snap, and it's Dimey Brown. But again, it's not fully on the same page. The rhythm isn't right. Brown is not looking towards Lawrence, and Lawrence is into throwing motion. Like, they need to be more on the same page here. Brown does turn around, but the ball is it's a fastball right there, and it's right in front of him. So he kind of only was able to get one hand even near it the second he saw it. So again, the timing. If he's aware of where that is, then this is probably a 1st down and they convert, and hey, no worries on the missed throw. But because they're not on the same page, it doesn't work. Also, this one, so this was a 4th and 7, and again, this is the one Kurt Warner's like, maybe you kick a field goal here. I think going for it's the right call. That's probably what I would have done. But again, either way, whether you think it's the right call or the wrong call, you have the players on the field. They have to execute. You can do the math and say if you kick these field goals here, what would have worked? But like ultimately, the players just have to execute the plays. Lawrence is going to take the snap. Nothing is open, and there's a quick pressure on the stunt where the interior defensive lineman goes to the outside, gets straight through to Lawrence. Nothing open. I guess you could throw up a jump ball because, why not, right? But, I don't hate the idea of seeing if you can get around this because he is, someone who could move. Here, though, nothing available. So it's like, it's hard to blame Trevor Lawrence for that, right? What is he supposed to do in that situation? There's nothing open. There's pressure quickly. Like, it's not good offense by the Jaguars and good defense by the Rams. Let's give them credit. But then there's stuff like this, which there's a couple things to note here. So it's going to be a clever play by the Rams. So you see that defensive back towards the offense's left, setting up as though he's going to cover the guy right in front of him, but that's actually not what's going to happen. Instead, you will see that he's going to go in and he is going to rush the passer. Right now, he's pretty much giving it away, just assuming Lawrence isn't going to look in his direction that close to the plate, to the snap. Would you love for Lawrence to see this and flip to the receiver and pick up potentially a 1st down here? Yes, that's what you would love to have happen, but a lot's going on. It's difficult. Football is in many ways a mental sport. Yes, you would love to see him do that, but it's not like a bad play that he didn't notice this. Here's, to me, the worst part. So the Rams are going to have 3 players because of this blitz rush the passer towards the offense's left. That's okay because the center's blocking to the left. So you have 3 offensive linemen on those 3 defenders. However, the tackle and guard pick up the same guy. Because of this, the player gets straight through, and again, in a situation where you 2nd down and 10 have an opportunity to get into the end zone potentially and make it a 2-score game, they get sacked, lose a ton of yards, end up punting on this possession. They didn't even get close enough that they could go for a 4th down here or think about a field goal. It's just a mess. There's also this sequence. So 2nd and 10, you see Trevor Lawrence tries to hit Brian Thomas Jr., who decides to try and push off the defender that he was already beating and then ultimately wasn't able to make a tough grab, but again, could have been a little easier had he just finished that a little bit better. And also, you're number 1 wide receiver. Like, your job is to make the tough grab sometimes. And there were, a few plays that you would have liked to see him make. Doesn't get that. There's then a penalty, which brings up a 3rd and 15, which then brings us to here, where you're going to see, again, this is an opening 1st down and a dropped pass. It's just a mess, and everyone has to wear this, right? After this, the Rams scored to make it 28-0, and that was basically ball game. Everyone has to wear this. Coaching has to wear this. Offensive line, wide receivers, even the running backs who, they were struggling a lot to get things going. So there's no aspect of this that you look at and say, well, that was great. There were things that were good. Travis Hunter made a lot of plays, right? Like, that's good to see him get going, especially when he was kind of helped keep them in the game with him getting put back on defense in the second half and them, making a lot of plays. But ultimately, it was just a mess. And again, what's frustrating about this game is not that they just got beat, because like sometimes you get beat. What's frustrating is how many mistakes they made throughout this game. They could have really won this game had they played a little bit better football. At least that's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.